Hey guys, it's Nick, and thanks for tuning into this battle report. And I'm going to jump right into the list I will be using this game because it's a little bit of a tweak from last game. Um, so here it is, Gracier running a Bell, Scaum, Scroll, doing the Chieftain BSB with Eternal Flame, and he has a Halberd. Running the Plague Priest again with the Furnace, the Flail, and Preservation. Chieftain with Halberd. I've got two of these guys. I took out the Assassin and put him in, and then used the leftover points to go ahead and put in some extra rats and Plague Monks. And I did this because I just decided that the Assassin's great and all, but I want to see if these guys are able to do any damage. I mean, I know they've got high enough initiative that they'll probably be striking first. Their weapon skill is decent. I know a lot of people recommend the Assassin to take up place in the front rank, or just to get, block up some heroes and got the ward save. But I'm going to see how these guys do because they've got Strength 5, so I'm going to try that out. I'm going to maybe go back to the Assassin later down the road because I didn't really get to see combat with him next time, and I haven't used an Assassin in a very, very long time. Engineer Doomrocket, can't leave home without, and a Naked Engineer. 2 units of 35 slaves, 40 clan rats, spear and shield. I threw the spear back on there. I don't know why. Just because. Warp fire thrower, 3 rat darts, 39 plague monks with the plague banner, and double doom wheel, hell pit abomination, and lightning cannon. So this game is against Ryan, and we decided he was going to make 3 lists because this is a practice game for the upcoming tournament in September that I will be doing, Crossroads, and he brought a High Elf, a Ogre, and a Warriors of Chaos list, and we rolled off, and he rolled the Ogre list. So, just to look at his stuff, he has 3 heroes, a Bruiser BSB, I forget what banner, a Slaughtermaster with Heavens, he wanted to try Heavens out, and a Butcher with the Moor lore. And then going through his deployment and the units that he has, we've got 3 Mornfang with a banner. We've got Iron Guts with the 3 heroes in it, 2 units of Lead Belchers, 2 Iron Blasters, and 1 Iron Blaster is proxied by the Tomb King piece there. And then 8 Bulls down here. They had a command, but it's not in there. Ryan is using my Ogre's army, and as you can see, it's a work in progress. There were some Saber Tusks along the way to, get some chaff down, and then you can see over here to the right there are some Man-Eaters. These Man-Eaters are very interesting. Ryan makes his lists very methodically. He plans them out all crazy. So these guys are essentially monster hunters. They have Scout, obviously, and then Poison attacks, and then the Eternal Flame banner. So these guys are ready to knock out the Hell Pit early game, because they're going to be shooting with their brace of pistols, and, I mean, Ballistic Skill isn't bad on them, so, honestly, 6s to hit, automatically wounds, flaming attacks, no save. Not a bad way to go, so that's pretty interesting. And then let's just look at his magic he got. Spine Marrow, whatever spell for the Butcher, and then for the Slaughtermaster, Blizzard, Curse of Midnight Wind, Comet, and Chain Lightning. And we will move on and look at my deployment. Left, I've got the Rat Dart over there all the way at the end, and I have the Plague Furnace with the Monks, Doom Wheel right there. Hopefully he can get up real fast and be away from me. Slaves behind the Impassable, Tower of Blood's just running as Impassable, Bell unit with Clan Rats with the Warp Fire Thrower in front. Bell proxied as a War Machine there. He is sideways, so there's less frontage from the cannons. And a Lightning Cannon behind there. And the darts, another dart, and then slaves and Hell Pit Abomination. Now, for my magic, I did get a Vermintide for the Plague Priest, which is fine because he'll get up near the enemy and, hopefully use that. And I didn't really want Pestilent Breath on him because, I already have like a shooting attack essentially from the Plague Furnace. And the Gracier has Pestilent Breath, Blessed with Filth, Wither, and Plague. Now, I am running the Screaming Bell still. I need some more convincing to get rid of it. I already saw some comments in my last video, and my next video will be just discussing the Screaming Bell and or the Plague Furnace. I don't know. I like the bell just based on the leadership bubble, but, I mean, that's going to be another topic. So, let's move into turn 1. So, my movement, the Doom Wheel moves up super fast. I think I roll a 15, which is great. The other Doom Wheel also rolls 15, so it hits up right in front of that building right there. Now, during the remaining compulsory area, I have to do some finagling and make sure I stay out of the radius of that Doom Wheel. So you see I've got some measuring tape set up, and I want to move as fastly away as I can from the Man-Eater monster hunters. So he goes away from them, and everything else doesn't really move up because I want to make sure those Doom Wheels get some nice shots off in the shooting phase. And you can see Rat Dart moves past those Man-Eaters to hopefully block March. If he wants to turn and shoot it at them, that would be great. I wouldn't care. For Skaven magic, everything's really out of range. I mean, this is the one thing about having the bell so far back and having all plague magic. I decided to go with plague just because, I don't know, I'm really fidgety about, I don't know, I just really like plague, and I would also need some additional convincing from any of you guys as to why I should start rolling in the plague, the spells of ruin. Especially if I've got a level 1 or 2 Plague Priest. I mean, I'm going to have some Plague spells, but then again, the Plague Priest will help me get better spells with the Grey Seer. But that's still a work in progress. So, the Grey Seer gets off Blessed with Filth onto the unit here, which is not a big deal. So, in shooting, the Doom Wheel, this one unfortunately only kills one Mournfang. I could have potentially killed all of them. That would have been amazing. But I only killed one. I think I rolled a strength 4, and I was only able to do one wound, and then I multiplied out and killed him. So this Doom Wheel was also a little bit of an upset. Killed only one guy on that unit and did a wound to the next. Unfortunately, the lightning cannon was only able to kill one Iron Gut, so I was hoping to kill some more, but didn't roll too great on that. So moving into Ogre's turn 1, the Saber Tusk issued a charge on the Giant Rats. It was pretty far, but it was a failed charge. And this other Saber Tusk just moves in to get closer to the Doom Wheel to hopefully bait out some shots from him, which is a pretty smart move. And then everything else backs up, believe it or not, next to that Iron Blaster, the unit of 8, and the Lead Belchers. They just don't want to deal with the Doom Wheel. Ryan was really hoping to get turn 1, especially since he got more drops, all of his drops down before me, but he rolled a 1 and I rolled a 3, so I was able to win first turn, so that's why the Doom Wheels do awesome. They're in a great position. So they back up over there, and then looking over here, the Saber Tusk moves in again to bait closer shots, I guess. And he just positions for everything coming in. So this is the Doom Wheel to the left. And the cannon is only... Oh, nope, this is magic. I'm sorry. Magic, he gets off Chain Lightning and only does one wound, which is pretty unfortunate. And he does miscast on that, and he rolls an 8 and loses the rest of his dice and takes a wound onto his hero. So, in shooting, the cannon decides to go ahead and do 3 more wounds to it, so it's still not dead, which is pretty crazy. So, I'm actually feeling pretty good. My shooting wasn't great last turn. Now, his shooting isn't that great. He's got cannons and lead belchers, and so far, the Doom Wheel is still alive until this happens. He rolls 23 hits with his lead belchers, and that's the end of the Doom Wheel. Over here, cannon only does 1 wound on the Doom Wheel. I mean, I'm feeling great. Then the lead belchers don't get anything on, and then Ryan's hunters, Man-Eater hunters, decide to score 4 wounds on the Hell Pit, which is pretty nasty. I was taken off guard by that. That's just nasty. That's crazy. There was flaming attack, poison, pistoliers. Man, man-eaters are awesome. Alright, so into Skaven turn 2, I make this little charge into the Saber Tusk for shits and giggles. And I move up these slaves here to hopefully stop these man-eaters from getting any closer to the Helped Abomination and killing him for free, essentially. And here's the rest of my movement. The Helped Abomination is getting a little bit closer to the combat. The Doomwheel roll is really shitty, the one that's still alive, and unfortunately doesn't get close enough to anything to make shots that matter. So I'm going to have to either pass a leadership test or shoot the Saber Tusk. So I was kind of upset about that. And the engineer has left the slave unit, so he's now 14 inches off from that Iron Gut unit. And that's really it for movement, so we'll jump into magic, and Vermintide's coming out from the Plague Priest first. I don't think Brian realized why I was doing this, because it's kind of a, I don't know, shitty spell against ogres, or toughness 4 units, because it's 3d6 strength, 2 hits, regular armor save, but I'm sending it right at the Iron Guts, but with the intention of clipping the Saber Tusk. I really want that Saber Tusk dead for the purpose of not having someone redirecting my frenzied troops. So I go ahead and kill the Saber Tusk and actually knock off a Iron Gut that had 2 wounds on him already, so that was pretty successful. And that's it for my magic, because everything else is kind of out of range still. So the Doom Rocket goes ahead and drops perfectly on top of all of the Iron Guts. And then here's my roll. I only kill one guy. I rolled a 2, a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 1. And then I have a 4, 3, and a 5, so not that great. I was hoping to kill maybe 2 guys, especially since it's 3s to wound, but I decided to roll like shit. And the Lightning Cannon is able to knock off 2 more guys, so go Lightning Cannon. This shot is just me taking a picture of my Plague Monks because I'm so proud of the paint job, I'm not going to lie. I'll get a little boastful here, but it looks pretty cool. So you gotta get that movement tray painted up. And here's just a shot of everything closing in. Down here in combat, I kill the Saber Tusk, and I believe he runs off the table, so maybe I didn't kill him, but that's that. Oh, and also the other Saber Tusk stays alive because I didn't want to risk the Doomwheel dying, so I took a leadership test to not shoot. So on to Ogre's turn 2. He doesn't really do much movement. Again, he just kind of gets ready for the wave of rats to come. The big thing that happens this turn is there is a comet casted right there. You can see that little counter next to the engineer. So that's kind of not good, I guess, since there is a lot of stuff around to get killed by the comet. Then again, I could deal with the massive amount of hits because I've got so many rats, and I've got Magic Res 2 on both my big units. But to get that off, he does miscast, and you can see here the template's going to hit 3 guys, so we've got 3 strength, 6 hits coming in. And Ryan decides to roll 3 ones. Yeah, so I was hoping for some free kills, but nope. And then the Hell Pit Abomination takes another wound. And actually, no, I think he takes 2 wounds and then gets killed. Either that or I took him off the board early. Either way, he takes a bunch of shots and ends up dying. So now that I think about it, I might have taken him off at 5 wounds instead of 6. So that's a mistake. I'm not sure if Ryan had scored another hit, or maybe he shot at it. I don't know. But anyway, the Doomwheel dies. The Hell Pit Abomination dies. The Doomwheel takes some more shots from the cannon, and he actually only does 2 wounds. So now he's up to 4 wounds, and he's still alive, which is pretty crazy. So cannon's really taken a while to get their job done this turn, or this game, I should say. And the lead belchers aren't able to finish off the Doom Wheel, so that's great. And then the other lead belcher unit go ahead and kill the Warp Fire Thrower. So, my turn, the Doom Wheel makes an awesome rock and roll hit into the bulls. These slaves I throw into the man-eaters at this point, just to keep them busy. And from this shot, you can see the big units are just closing in, since there's only 3 Iron Guts left and 3 heroes in that one unit. And then 4 lead belchers, which aren't a big deal. I've got my giant rats redirecting the Mournfang, not a big issue. And then if for some reason something gets through, the engineers there to lock up somebody in a round of combat by just protecting the flank of the Plague Furnace. So, for my turn 3, my magic, the bell actually gets off the 24-inch radius of reroll leadership tests, which is actually pretty cool because the Doom Wheel is actually out of range for BSB, but now he's kind of got a reroll if he needs to. And then the comet goes ahead and lands. Yes, it does end up landing. Nope, I'm sorry. This turn he gets a marker. So he gets an extra marker, I believe. That's what that 2 is there for. So it doesn't land this turn. And I get off. Also, Wither I get off onto the Iron Gut unit. So now everything's at -1 toughness permanently. And then I got Vermintide off against the Iron Guts. And it goes straight through and I believe does a wound or 2. Because now everything's slightly easier to wound. So that's nice. And then into shooting. The lightning cannon is able to kill another, or does some wounds to the Iron Guts, and the lightning cannon, not the lightning cannon, the Doom Wheel gets into combat and only kills 1 ogre from shooting, I believe. Not really good at all. I think it maybe killed none actually. The slaves just get grinded down in combat. And then in combat, I do some impact hits and some wounds and, knock an ogre off and then do some wounds to that one in the back. But Ryan's able to actually kill the Doom Wheel. He actually rolled 1-6 to wounds. It's strength 4 against toughness 6, and he rolled a 6 with one of his guys. And that was after failing a fear test, believe it or not. So I had very good odds in my favor, but he ends up killing it. So that's that. And on to Ogre's turn 3. So there are still no charges. We have this Saber-Tusk coming up from behind. Me and Ryan were discussing maybe it would have been worth charging the Giant Rats because he probably would have won, and then he probably would have overran, and then he would have gotten in the way of the Bell unit. But we decided later on it wasn't worth it because this turn the Comet ends up landing and killing a bunch of guys. Not as many as we were suspecting because that 5-up ward save against magic with the big units is kind of useful. So only a couple guys drop. And the lightning cannon takes a wound from one of the cannons, which is kind of annoying. And some rats die from some lead belchers because the guys behind really didn't have anything to shoot at. And some plague monks get knocked out by lead belchers, and the other cannon knocks out the lightning cannon entirely. In combat, slaves eat it, and they break, or explode I should say, and they actually kill a freaking man-eater, which is great. So, moving on to Skaven turn 4. As you can see here, I got some charges in. Very important charges. And for magic, the comet lands and does some more wounds, but not a big deal. I try to get some spells off to help me, like Wither again on some unit. I don't remember which one it was, but nothing ended up going in my favor, and I ended up rolling on the bell. All guys get +1 attack, which is pretty nice. So the plague monks and the clam rats are getting extra attacks, which is pretty awesome. And here for the plague, for the screaming bell, I go to hit the guys, and with the impact hits, and I roll 3 1s, which is terrible. And then I really don't do too great against the lead belchers, but I am able to break them. So there's no room for me to clip the iron guts. So into this combat here with the iron guts, I'm able to kill all of the iron guts, and now I'm dealing with the heroes, and I essentially am able to deal some wounds against the heroes. My problem is, at this point, it was very late in the evening, and I really wasn't paying 100% attention. I should have directed my attacks a little bit better against the different heroes. Honestly, I should have directed all of my attacks not against the BSB, because the BSB was probably going to break and probably going to just die on the spot, so I should have killed his casters, and I don't know, I was just kind of lazy there. But, as suspected, I break them anyway, but I have so many wounds suffered on these guys from just attacks from the heroes and whatnot, so... And also the comet, I'm going to say, did some wounds, so... Yeah, I've got not as many plague monks as I had, like, literally 10 seconds ago. So, on to Ogre turn 4. This is a quick turn. The Mornfang go into those rats there, and the casters are successfully rallied, and they do drop another comet, which is right there where the dice is. The cannons are able to knock out the plague furnace, which is crazy. That's a very, very good for Ryan. And that's really it. So for his magic, also, I forgot to mention, he does get off stubborn onto the lead belcher unit in front of the plague monks. So he's in pretty good shape at this point to, maybe not have those plague monks destroy him. So on to the Skaven turn. Skaven run in on both units with the infantry and the bell and the plague monks. And the clan rats, their slaves also just decide to go into the Mornfang. I mean, they're going to fight them anyway, so might as well avoid any impact hits or prevent the Mornfang from coming in on the back of the bell. So in magic, nothing crazy gets off. I believe I was trying to get Wither off onto the casters again, but he scrolled it or dispelled it at that point because it was just not worth having his guys at toughness crap. So I'm able to kill the one lead belcher unit, but I am not able to kill the other one because the guy's stubborn, so he actually sits there. The slaves take a bunch of hits, and that's that. The far comet I really don't care about. The man-eaters in Ogre turn decide to close in on the bell, and there's one hero there just, I guess, to redirect or just cause some issues. And the unit of bulls are now in the building, which we discussed was probably not a great idea, just because the bell could blow up the building, or the comet could hit the building, or there's just a bunch of different things that could happen. So the Iron Blaster rear charges the plague monks at this point. Both of the comets land and actually kill a couple of the bulls, and my plague monks get destroyed. I'm able to do a wound or two onto the cannon, but I kill the lead belcher unit. It was just not good. So At this point, a couple little things happen here and there. Ryan thought he lost this game really early by the fact that I just had so many guys coming in, but we didn't really count up victory points. We just call it a draw just because we had a good time. It was a good game, and at this point it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we just wanted to go home. And this is the closeout shot. So he does have a lot of stuff still on the field. I do have a lot of points in that rat unit, including like 3 or 4 heroes, the unit, the bell. So that is that. So let's go into some analysis. I'm going to say that I did not win this game just based on the fact that I was lazy. There was a lot of laziness, particularly discussing the Plague Monk combat, where I really had a good chance of wiping out the heroes, and I just wasn't directing my attacks correctly, especially since the Plague had given them an extra attack, the bell. So these monks were at 4 attacks each, so I really should have done a better job of figuring out where they were attacking. This way I could just kill the unit, but I mean, that was just laziness. The other lazy thing was just not putting 2 and 2 together when it came to those man-eaters. When I saw that he had poison, I was like, wow, poison. Why would you have poison? They already have high strength. They're going to kill stuff in combat. But they weren't meant for combat. They were meant for flaming attacks with dual-shot pistols. I should have saw a red flag there. I should have either put the Hell Pit Abomination somewhere else or just went head in straight. I mean, if I would have just marched the Hell Pit right in, then maybe he would have gotten a round of shooting at it, and then hopefully with my impact hits and my higher initiative, I could kill them all before, getting killed by fire attacks. Or if I was smart and realized the threat earlier, what I would have done is moved the slaves straight towards the man-eaters first turn, and then second turn charged them, preventing Ogre turn 2 wiping out the Hell Pit Abomination. The Hell Pit Abomination would have really helped in this game if he had saw combat. So he was kind of out to my right flank, hopefully going to hold everything up, but he died. So going back to my list, I think I was okay with taking the assassin out. I know I'm still going to discuss a little bit about the bell being in or out of this list. If the bell does drop, I think I need to get some gutter runners in with some poison and slings just to help myself with those cannons, or just, yeah, really just the cannons, the war machines and stuff that are just not fun to deal with. I mean, these guys at least have an armor save, so they're hard to kill. I think they're toughness 6 also, if I remember correctly, so not particularly these cannons. Any other war machines might help, but yeah, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, feedback would be great. This was an awesome game. Me and Ryan had a great time. We really dragged this one out, honestly, but it was a good game, and we decided, we'll go on to probably Warriors of Chaos or High Elves in our next practice game. Thanks for watching.